Welcome back to Millbridge Speedway. The 1ZT's Dash Series feature, and oh boy, this one was pure DNQ chaos from the drop of the green. On the SRI pole was Casey Meyer with a 12.641, but thanks to the invert, it put Steven Tautges on the point. And let's be honest, when you put Tautges on pole, you're basically inviting everyone else to play catch-up.
Yeah, Tautges on pole is like giving a raccoon a Red Bull. It's about to get wild fast. That guy's got the throttle buried from the prayer to the checkered.
And right off the start, he didn't disappoint.
Behind them, Zach Campolonga got launched off the berm by Cooper Meyer, who's making his DNQ debut, and apparently making enemies right away. Both of them kept it rolling, but it was a rough intro for the new kid.
Yeah, Cooper learned real fast that in DNQ, the berm ate a suggestion. It's a punishment.
Casey Meyer, the fastest guy in qualifying, got loose, tagged the back of Sokol and looped it. That collected Roger Diebold and turned 3 into a junkyard. Meyer somehow gathered it up, came back on track, and then absolutely punted Tyler Trebilcock off the racing surface.
Yeah, the officials didn't love that. He got slapped with a rough driving penalty. Too many get-out-of-my-way moments. DNQ don't hand those out often, but when they do, it's usually for someone driving like a Mortal Kombat character.
Up front, though, Net Positive Pool Services' finest Tautges and Sokol were setting the tone. Sokol, the road course guy, actually looked sharp tonight. Maybe all those laps on the twisty tracks finally paid off. Meanwhile, David Hutchins in the 69 was having the run of his life before the motor went south on him. Tough break for the guy. He was running in the top 5 for a while there.
Yeah, and talk about off nights. Zach Campolonga, usually a front runner, was just off the pace all evening. We saw him hanging out around Zane Reeves near the back, and that's not a zip code he usually lives in. Not sure if it was gearing, tire choice, or just bad juju, but the 5C looked like it was towing a trailer tonight.
And it wasn't just him. The whole mid-pack looked like a demolition derby. Meyer sideways, Farlow sideways. It was chaos. Then came the cockroaches.
Yeah, once the Ukraine flag was flying, you knew the lap traffic was here to stay. You had David Hall, Will Larson, and a couple of others doing their best impression of moving chicanes. That let Sokol reel Tautges in. He was right on his bumper when the caution finally came out with 5 to go.
Tautges chose the bottom, Sokol up top, with Diebold and Campolonga lining up in row 2. Green flag waves, and Sokol gives it a real shot on the high side. Stays even through 1 and 2, but has to tuck in line by the time they hit turn 3.
And right when that was happening, Campolonga started digging like he found his lost setup book. Diebold and Campolonga both made their way up to the front, looking like they were about to rewrite the script. The cream rose to the top, or, as Macho Man would say,
oh yeah, the cream always rises to the top, dig IT!
Exactly right, Joe. And speaking of drama, Meyer made headlines again, literally pushing Farlow off the racetrack, sealing his penalty for the night. From pole speed to demolition derby, it was a tough fall from grace.
Meanwhile, Tautges just kept his cool. That's the difference. Everyone else was losing their minds, and he was running laps like it was Sunday practice. Sokol gave it everything he had, but it wasn't enough.
At the checkered, it's Steven Tautges taking the win. Cool, calm, and absolutely lethal out front. Steven Sokol brings it home second after one of his best oval runs yet, and Roger Diebold rounds out the podium. Campolonga finally salvages a solid 4th after the early chaos, and Casey Meyer, well, he'll be hearing from race control for a while.
You gotta love it. The DNQ Dash Series never fails. You get clean racing, dirty moves, and at least one driver who needs an emotional support beer after it's all over. And that's going to wrap up the 1ZT's Dash Series here at Millbridge Speedway. Steve Tautges grabs the win. Steve Post caught up with the winners.
Oh, the 1ZT's Dash Division and a familiar face down here, Steven Tautges. Steven, tell us about that run.
First of all, hold on, let me look.
All right, he's going to look. He's going to make sure he gets the name right. There we go. All right, take 2.
Kicking gas, it's cancer. This all G-stats right here. This is this cart. Hopefully he's back here next year and get some. But I'm glad. Sokol, us 1 and 2. Had to get it so we can get maybe we have a shot with. Okay, finish. Maybe, but thank Net Positive Pools, Victory Lane Karting. It was fun. It was actually clean this race. It was fun. It was awesome. Good job, Sokol, Matt, everybody. Thank you, Jeremy and Ashley. You guys do a hell of a job on the configurations. I love it. It's awesome.
It is awesome. Most important question. Did you stay off from Ashley's grass this time?
Yeah, that's why I did the donut right in the middle of the middle of the front. I'd like to thank the kids, Mom, letting me come out here. I got one last month. Let's see if we can seal up 3 of these.
Here we go. Stephen Todges picks up the win in the 1ZT Dash Series. Solid run there for Steve Sokol. Steve, what more did you need to be able to get up there and mess up the speed?
Just a little bit of a drag block. My interest was in this today, so I need to work on it. Found something on the short track I've been playing a lot. It's a little different with the speed you're carrying.
A lot of fun. That is it for the DNQ Series second place finish here tonight. Third place here, podium finish for Roger Diebold. Roger, congratulations. Nice run.
Thank you. I'm starting to get more used to being up here. This is cool.
Pretty cool. Tell me about the race. Tell me about the ride you had getting up to the third spot.
I feel like, when we practice qualifying, felt okay, and then we made a couple changes. Luckily my buddies were there to bail me out because I broke a stud off and had to borrow gears and stuff. So we did a couple changes. They were definitely in the right direction, so I felt like it was well-deserved third place.
Sounds like a fun night. The buddies helped out. Here we are on the front stretch.
Yeah, now it's time to go drink some beer.
More importantly, that's for sure. Roger Diebold wraps it up here. There's your podium finishers for the 1ZT's Dash Series.
And as the checkered flag falls here at Millbridge, it's Stephen Todges taking home the win in the 1ZT's Dash Series feature. The veteran made it look easy tonight. Cool, smooth, and absolutely lights out on that Darlington layout.
Right behind him, Steve Sokol comes home second. And that's one of his best runs to date on an oval. The road course guy proving he can hang with the best of them when the track turns left.
Roger Diebold grabs third. Solid, consistent. Just kept his nose clean while chaos brewed behind him. That's how you finish on the podium in this series.
Then Zach Campalonga ends up fourth. Good rebound for him after a rough couple of weeks. Rounding out the top 5, it's Zane Reeves, who ran a smart, steady race and stayed out of the mess.
Joel Farlow comes home 6th, followed by Tyler Trebilcock in 7th, who had to fight his way back after some mid-race drama. Cooper Meyer brings it home 8th in his debut. Solid effort for the newcomer.
Will Larson and David Hall finished 9th and 10th, each a lap down, but both kept it rolling to the end. David Hutchins had mechanical issues early and will be credited with 11th.
And we've got a DQ. Casey Meyer, who originally crossed the line 5th, gets disqualified after that rough driving penalty earlier in the race. He'll be scored 12th, last on the results sheet. Well, folks, that'll wrap up the 1ZT Series Knupp Cup, and it's Zach Campalonga standing tall at the top of the heap. Campalonga had the pace, the patience, and just enough luck to bring home the title with 540 points. A well-deserved championship for one of the cleanest, sharpest racers in the DNQ field.
Yeah, Zach's been the definition of consistency. Didn't always have the fastest kart, but man, he never put a wheel wrong when it counted. Smart moves, steady hands, that's how you win a cup title.
Behind him, Roger Diebold finishes second with 457 points, and you gotta hand it to him. The guy's been lurking all season long, always there when chaos struck. Then in third, Joel Farlow at 450, who kept himself in the hunt right until the very end with some clutch drives late in the year.
Stephen Todges grabs fourth with 442, proving again he's a threat anywhere he unloads. And rounding out the top 5, Casey Meyer at 427. Even with some drama this season, the speed's undeniable.
David Hutchins ends up 6th with 406, a career best finish for him. Then it's Peyton Sentner in 7th, Anthony LaCunata 8th, Briar 9th, and Brian Shaw rounding out the top 10.
So it's official. Zach Campalonga, your 2025 1ZT Series Knupp Cup champion. Cool, calm, and fast when it mattered. The Beard stays undefeated, and the rest of the field's got homework for next season.
Campalonga takes home the cup, the bragging rights, and probably a few phone calls from guys wanting to borrow setup notes. Congratulations to all the drivers. That's your Knupp Cup Top 10 from Millbridge Speedway.